In November of 2024 last year, we started a training community where we would come together at Bukit Canberra Active SG to train with people who are interested in calisthenics. One of the community members approached me and asked me how I would start calisthenics if I had to start all over again from scratch. So I told him that I would master my push-ups and my pull-ups because these two movements are the bread and butter of calisthenics exercises, and they will help to establish the basic pushing and pulling strength that I need for other calisthenics movements. Hi, my name is Damon and this is my 5th year of training calisthenics. I've put on 10 proper kilograms of muscle mass just by focusing on bodyweight movements like pull-ups and dips. If you're trying to put on more muscle mass or learn a calisthenics skill, go ahead and click the first link below in the description, where I've put down my training plans for building muscle and learning calisthenics skills all for free. So go ahead and check out the first link in my bio, and welcome back to Caliversity. So if anybody comes up to me and asks me how I would start training calisthenics all over again, the first thing I would do is to make sure that I'm able to do push-ups and pull-ups anytime I want to, anywhere I want to. And if I were to narrow this down further, my objective would be to be able to hit 100 push-ups as quickly as I can. And my short-term objective, every single time I dropped a 100 bomb, would be to beat the time it took me the previous time to complete 100 push-ups. Because when you initially start training, you need to implement volume in order to subsequently increase the intensity of your training. This also means that if I were unable to do push-ups, I would reduce the progression and work on getting to 100 knee-on-floor push-ups. And I would repeat that until I was effortlessly able to wrap up push-ups. And from then on, I would aim to get to 100 repetitions of regular push-ups. But things are different when it comes to pull-ups, because the only progression that exists before the pull-ups is the inverted row, and the difference in intensity between the two exercises is too high. So you can't exactly measure your ability to do pull-ups by how easy inverted rows feel. So you have to apply a technique known as greasing the groove. This is basically where you work on a singular movement until you become really good at it. And what I mean by really good at it is to get to a point where you can wrap up 10 pull-ups at a pull-up bar anytime you want to without breaking a sweat. You can get to this level of strength by first attaching a thick resistance band, and then similarly to the push-ups, wrap up pull-ups in volume. Over time, this volume is going to convert into pulling strength, and you can switch to a thin band when you get stronger, and then eventually remove the band once and for all. While you would want to do 100 repetitions for push-ups, the goal for pull-ups is a lot more different. Because you're pulling your entire body weight and only pushing a percentage of your body weight, a very basic start would be to get in at least 5 sets of 5 repetitions, and then gradually increase that to 5 sets of 6, 5 sets of 7, 5 sets of 8, 5 sets of 9, and so on. In fact, your first objective for pull-ups would be to get to 5 sets of 10 pull-ups. 5 sets of 10 pull-ups might seem like a really big jump for any beginner, but in reality, no matter where you're starting from, you should give yourself at least 2 to 3 months to achieve these two goals: 100 push-ups as quickly as possible, and 5 sets of 10 pull-ups with a 3-minute rest period in between each set that you do. When starting out calisthenics, the biggest neglect is usually your diet. Losing fat and building muscle is a topic that will be discussed more in another video, but to really brush the surface, consuming more protein in your diet is a definite should do if you're going to be starting out any form of training at all, because protein is the building block of muscle. My favorite go-to is 200 grams of chicken breast dipped into hot water and boiled for 15 minutes straight, taken out and eaten straight from the pot. No salt, no seasoning, no mayonnaise. Easy 64 grams of protein.
This chicken is so dry, it makes the Sahara Desert look like an ocean. God damn.
And if you're gonna start training, you need at least 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight to ensure that you're sustaining and building muscle at the greatest efficiency. Now, achieving 100 push-ups as quickly as possible and 5 sets of 10 pull-ups with a 3-minute rest in between sets is what I would call a proper foundation of strength. This means that you're ready to start conditioning for much more difficult movements like the handstand push-up, the muscle-up, the front lever, and the planche. So let's say your first goal in calisthenics is the muscle-up. To be able to do a muscle-up, you should first understand the technique of the muscle-up. I've made a video in which I've thoroughly explained the techniques of the muscle-up, so go ahead and check it out. The link will be in the description below. Since the muscle-up is a combination of technique and strength, understanding how to strengthen your pulling technique is very important. The muscle-up requires you to put yourself over the bar, so practicing pull-ups with a hollow back instead of an arched back is going to be your first training progression. This is one where you basically protract your shoulder blades and pull explosively. This will help you because the hollow back pull-up gives you leverage by allowing you to pull yourself over the bar, compared to the arched back pull-up where you're kept to pulling the bar towards your chest, no matter how explosive your pull-ups get. And if you're training for the handstand, then 2 points come into play. The first comes in ensuring that you feel comfortable upside down, so start by doing handstand kick-ups with your back against the wall. Once you're able to kick up and hold the handstand comfortably, turn around and let your chest face the wall. This position is the closest mimic to the freestanding handstand and allows you to get a really good idea of how the handstand feels like. Plus, it will really help you you to get rid of the fear of being upside down. Once you've gotten the hang of being upside down, all you have to do now is practice kicking up and learning how to break your own fall. As a baby, you have to learn to fall in order to start walking, and I think that a really similar concept can apply here when it comes to the handstand. If you don't learn to break your own fall, you will never understand how to properly hold a handstand. And if it helps, I use my fingertips to press onto the floor when I feel like I'm about to lose my balance, similarly to how we use our toes when we feel like we're about to fall towards the front. Once you're able to hold the freestanding handstand for at least 10 seconds without falling, you can start working on the handstand push-up. To do that, you want to get really good at the pike push-up, which is basically getting into a pike position, taking 3 steps forward, and diving your head towards the floor before pushing back up. And practicing more of it is going to help you enforce the strength needed for a proper handstand push-up. Of course, if you want to measure your progress, you can try lifting your feet off the floor at the maximum contraction of the pike push-up, just to get a feel of what a handstand push-up can feel like. Eventually, as you get stronger, you can try to push yourself up while in this position. Once you're past this stage of calisthenics where you're getting really good at moves like the handstand push-up, the muscle-up, and the handstand, you can start training for movements like the planche and the front lever. These are the hardest skills in calisthenics to achieve at a beginner's level, and you can get it as long as you put in the time. And by time, I mean the front lever isn't as difficult as the planche because it uses a bigger muscle group, the back. And it also utilizes the same range of motion as many other calisthenics movements like the muscle up. So by doing a great volume of calisthenics movements like muscle ups, you are also training for the front lever hold. But the planche tells a different story because it places an emphasis on smaller muscle groups in the entire upper body, so you have to specifically condition for that movement if you want to achieve the full planche hold. You can start on that by working on different progressions of the planche hold. And the key to achieving the full planche that I hardly see people actually talk about is to get really good at the easy progressions of planche. The easier the easy progressions feel, the less difficult the harder progressions will feel. So spend plenty of time reinforcing and holding the easy progressions of planche, and they'll eventually help you to get the harder progressions of planche. So for example, if you're working on the straddle planche, do more tuck planche holds and do more planche leans, whereas if you're working on the full planche, do more advanced tuck planche holds and more tuck planche holds. Now if your goal after you have achieved 100 push-ups and 5 sets of 10 pull-ups is not a calisthenics skill, but rather to put on size, then your training will be very different. Instead of working on the technical aspects of different movements, you simply want to wrap up pull-ups and dips to a great level of voluminous intensity. You want to start by carrying out 5 sets of both movements to failure. You can do both dips and pull-ups on the same day, just make sure you do whatever you're stronger in last. So if you're stronger in push, do pulls first. And if you're stronger in pulls, do push first. There'll come a point where you're so proficient at reps and sets that 5 sets of pull-ups and 5 sets of dips will probably not be enough for you. And that's when you have to raise the intensity by doing either drop sets or EMOM sets, which is also known as every minute on the minute. This process begins with you setting a timer and doing a set number of repetitions every single minute. When the minute starts, start doing your reps. When your reps finish, the amount of time you have left before the next minute begins is your rest time. This is by far the level of reps and sets that pushes your body to the maximum intensity. So if regular reps and sets become too easy for you, or you see yourself reaching a cap in terms of the amount of growth and progress that you're making in terms of your physique and your endurance, EMOM is definitely going to help you push yourself beyond the level that you're plateauing at. If you're interested in EMOM, more of it is going to be explained in this video. I have linked it in the description below as well. Feel free to check it out. My name is Damon. If you live in Singapore, we have a training community every single Saturday from 2 PM to 4 PM where we train with athletes at Bukit Canberra Active SG. The training session is free. All you have to do is turn up, and I'll see you in the next video.